You know what? We're just gonna let that roll again. You know
Okay.
what? I can't do this every time. Welcome back to the Zachrilege cast. Jen
That's
Aldrich,
adorable.
mother of dragons.
Mother of Dragons. They call me Mother Dragon now. It's not even Mother of Dragons. I'm just Mother
Mother
Dragon.
dragon.
I'm just Mother Dragon. No.
Have you ever seen the movie Trading Places?
Yes. Many years ago, but yes.
Do you think in a just world, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss would end up where the rich dudes in Trading Places ended up?
Yes. Yes. You guys are going to hear my kid in the background. It's before his bedtime, so I told him he could be downstairs, and I don't know what the hell he's doing in there, but he's having a grand old time doing it. I don't smell fire, I don't hear crying, and I don't hear things crashing, so it's okay.
Okay, so the one, and this isn't really out of context, but I like to do quotes at the beginning. So Here's a quote, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're not in the solution business in the atheist community. We're just here to yell at people. That's your quote.
You've been watching my Twitter.
Do some research. I hear you're not big into like notes and stuff, and I was like, okay, how many questions do I need? 3, 4 before the whole time's up? But
you've been watching my Twitter and my Facebook, huh?
I do want to start tonight with like a kind of a softball question. So,
sure.
How can different atheist mindsets work together? Like specifically the atheists who go to bed damn early like I do, and the ones that stay up late like me at 3 in the morning like you.
I'm actually doing a whole series on this on my channel. Well, right now we're highlighting different kinds of activism and atheism, different specialties, I guess you can call them, in the atheist community. The number one thing I've gotten was stop being a dick. Stop thinking that because you answered the God question, you know everything now and you're this amazing intellectual and nobody's going to tell you wrong, and the angry atheist phase is the way to go, because it's fucking not. You are not a debate bro. You don't know the fucking answer to everything. Sit down, shut the fuck up, and listen to people. That would be the easiest way to build bridges.
The answer to every question is not Dracarys, right?
I mean, okay, so if you're up against someone who absolutely is a douchebag debate me bro, then fucking light them on fire. Just teach the fucking lesson. Absolutely. Especially if it's something you know. Yes, Dracarys if you need it. However, stop thinking that your brand of atheism is the superior one. You're not superior for being a debater. You're not superior for knowing more about philosophy or religious texts. You're not superior for being a political activist. Like, we're all doing shit. Do your shit. And if somebody wants to know about your shit, fucking tell them your shit. Like, done. Don't be a dick. Just don't.
And since you're in the pre-drinking and I'm in the current, so
I can't drink with the
I have my representing with the dragon's milk, and then the dragon's milk mug, and the other dragon's milk mug, because I, of course, have to go with the regular and then the
you're
white.
An alcoholic, though. So Zach and I have known each other for years, and I believe the first time we met face to face, we got absolutely blasted together at a NanoCon.
Yeah, I was like, was that NanoCon or...
That was NanoCon. That was the one that they...
ended at a con.
We probably got blasted together.
It's unfortunate that, NanoCon had to cease this year, but NanoCon was kind of ahead of the curve in terms of like, oh, we're not going to do any conference-y type things.
I dug that, though. I dug that, though. I dug that it wasn't sitting in one room listening to one person drone on fucking endlessly. I dug the shit out of that. And I do miss it. I do. I missed it this year. Because that was like the kickoff conference. That was like the first major conference of the year. And then we did AA and then funneled out to all the other ones over the year. But that was like the first major summer conference for the year.
I would like to say hi to What the Craft is in
that
the chat room.
Witch. That is my friend Witch. Witch is amazing. Cool. Which lives not too far from me, actually. And once it's safe to go outside again, we're going to we're gonna link up, which is a pagan witch. If I'm getting this wrong, please tell me. Practicing witch and pagan, and she's going to make me wonderful things in jars, apparently. So I'm here for it. Why not?
Sounds like that could work. So what was destroyed more thoroughly, the Iron Throne or your former podcast?
Oh, the Iron Throne. I'm still good with Keys. Like, me and Keith are still cool. It was just...
You mentioned every episode is it out there? Or is
oh, no, I wiped it. I fucking scrubbed everything. I still have the files.
Who have gotten rid of their podcast. Like, you can't find it. Yeah.
I think it might still be on Spreaker. Or, wait, what's that other one? Podbean. I think it might still be on Podbean. But, you got it. Yeah, which is right. Yeah, I think it might still be on Podbean. But, yeah, Keith and I are still on good terms. Life just kind of got in the way. And our schedules didn't match up. And I had moved on to the ACA at that point, and things had just gotten too much. So we're still good. Like, Keith is still... I actually talked to him about a week or two ago to see how he was doing.
Well, one thing that's good about having you on the show is, sometimes I'll have people on, I'm like, oh, are they going to be weird about drinking? And obviously that's not going to be the case with you. Oh my God. So what made you decide to come up with like the greatest personal brand, the Atheist Wine Down?
Well, I drink and yell about things. I don't drink as much in my interviews because I don't want to be sloppily drunk and screaming and ranting and raving to my poor guest. But my pre-records, I drink and I yell about things, and it's a rundown of shit that's going on. So I was like, okay, I have this chalice that I got for my birthday from one of my best friends. I put wine in it. I run things down. I'm an atheist. And the icon, the chalice in the graphic is actually the chalice that I drink out of. So it kind of just all tied in. But I was like, I drink.
Don't you have a pillow like behind you?
I do. It's over in there.
That's dedication.
I got a pillow made. I have stickers too. Like, I have little round stickers too. Because I was supposed to do AACon this year before COVID. So I was like, well, the pillow looks cool because, I have the background. I was like, I'll have some stickers. I'll have some business cards. And then that never fucking happened. So thank you for not having a fucking pandemic team and getting this shit under control in January. But yeah.
Yeah. And now masks are cool. Yeah.
They kind of are, though. Like, some of these shit, they're fucking stylish as shit. They're all, it's like a new accessory. I'm very excited about them because I don't have to do my lipstick. That's great. All I have to do is, like, cover stick a little powder and eyeshadow on my eyebrows and I'm out the fucking door. And it's, like, accessorizing. I can buy, like, different colors, different patterns, and I'm like, ooh, fun.
Yeah,
I'm kind of for this. I'm like here for this right now.
I can't pose well for pictures. I don't smile like a human being.
Neither do I.
So it's like, oh, it's cool. And my mom's been making masks, and she makes them like based on sports teams. So I've gotten Nashville Predators, I've gotten Tennessee Titans. My parents live in Nashville.
That's great. Yeah.
And they got a Tennessee one for my wife, who's not a sports person. And the best ones. Well, I can't say that. Probably the best ones I've seen this week are Mandisa wearing her Black Non-Believers one.
I need to hit her up and see where I can get those because I'm a little curious to walk around a mid-sized town in Tennessee that's super conservative with a Black Non-Believers mask on. I go pick up my kid. Well, when he was in school, I go and like get him from the bus with Black Non-Believers hoodies on, like Clarksville Atheist hoodies on, Godless Bitches hoodies on. Like, I don't give a fuck out here. My kid actually went to school when I was doing Godless Bitches, and told his friends I was on YouTube, and they were like, "So, what's your mom's channel? Like, where is she on?" And he goes, "Oh, she has two." And he said, the Atheist Wine Down, and the face is twisted, and then he goes, "Godless Bitches," and I was like, bug! No, this is why we have abbreviations. You're not supposed to say that in your classroom. Fuck. I was like, I looked at him. I'm like, you're not supposed to say bitches, kiddo. What the fuck? Like, the fuck are you doing? You're not supposed to curse. But like, yeah, I need those masks. I want the leggings too. I want the black non-believer leggings.
Oh, I have a T-shirt, but yeah.
Every time I go to a conference,
living at home, it's like, yeah, I need more T-shirts in my wardrobe because anything with a collar, what's the point?
What's the point? Every time I see Mandisa at a conference, I buy something. I buy stuff. She's got cool shit, and I want to support one of my friends. So
yeah, anytime. Yeah, it's like almost rest in peace conferences, but yeah, Mandisa would have like 52 different colors of black non-believer shirts. She was prepared.
I think I own one.
If you didn't have the right, she would have your size. She would have the color you wanted. You could not mess around, and I think that's great because
she did a small speaking event out at Vanderbilt University, maybe. It was one of the ones in Nashville, and it was just like this small kind of like college classroom, and at the end of it, she had full stock of retail, and I was like, you are fucking amazing. There's no way I would be this goddamn organized. Like, she had full stock, every size, every color, everything. I was like, holy shit. I actually had her on my channel recently to discuss black people and atheism and POCs and atheism and how they're not treated as equally as white people are.
What? You're crazy. Come on.
Yeah, right? No. In atheism, never.
Yeah, if you've been in atheism and realize there's a community for more than like 3 days, you go, oh yeah. But now that since you had a show, you've been on shows with multiple co-hosts, but now you get to kind of run your own ship.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you have like kind of you kind of do these 15 to 20 minute kind of rants, and then you do interviews, which they're on YouTube, so they last forever because that's where interviews
they'll never go away. Yeah.
Exactly.
That'll never.
You're just hanging out with friends, really. But
that's it.
Kind of your.
Yeah,
what you're trying to do with your channel.
Yeah, my channel isn't super professional. It's the interviews are more like
hello, professional.
I'm in Stars. I'm in Stars PJ pants right now. Like, I'm shocked my house is clean. My kid's screaming at the Nintendo Switch in the next room. But my interviews are very much pulling conversations that I've had out with my friends off of telephones or off of video chats or off of one-on-one and just like putting them into the internet. That's what they are. It's sitting there having a conversation that I probably had before with one of my friends and just having other people participate in it. My 15-minute ones are more as if I'm talking to you. Like, I'm just ranting to one of my friends. I never wanted a super polished, super uppity, fucking scholarly channel. That's not who I am. You've known me for years. Would you ever describe me as fucking scholarly? No.
Unless you're talking about, like, Westerosi theology, yeah.
Or constitutional law. Like those are the two things you can get me pretty scholarly on.
Well, Deborah in the chat asked about beer update.
The beer update, what's that?
So I'm drinking Dragon's Milk. This is the regular. This is the white. Although I'm afraid the white stout is like a lighter stout. So there's a beer out, and it's breweries around the country are making it. And it's called Black is Beautiful, and it's basically a beer that people are making, and they're giving money to social justice causes. And I'm like, 3, 2, 1. How long till some really racist brewery is going to make a white stout that's like white is beautiful? And
I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet.
Beer anymore.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened.
Well, there was actually one brewery that made a beer that was based on the Boogaloo Boys, which are like these weird right wingers.
No. See, I know Boogaloo Boys. Oh. Actually, so one that I know was somebody that I dated on and off for like 5 years, and we're still really good friends. They're not, a lot of them are not really right-wing racists. Granted, they want a civil war, but they want a civil war they want to burn the country down, but the majority of them want to burn the country down to give more liberal and left programs going and not have to have the status quo. Unfortunately, like many other quote-unquote militia groups, they have had an infiltration of white supremacists. And from the Boogaloo, however the fuck you pronounce it, boys that I know, Once white supremacists have started showing up at the protest, the actual BB boys leave. They actually leave because they don't want to be associated with that. The Hawaiian shirt is kind of a telltale classic of the white supremacist version of it. And it's something that they're really battling internally. Like, really battling internally, trying to police their own. Stout can't be white, that defies nature itself. I gotta try this dragon's milk stuff.
It's right here, okay? No, dragon's milk white. I mean, the regular dragon's milk, this beer is the only, like, year-round bourbon barrel-aged stout that exists, and it's out of Michigan. Good state for beer.
Really?
And they decided to start making this lighter version, because this is like 6%. This is like 12. So yeah, it's a different. This is almost as boozy as like wine. So.
I'm having sweet tea from Steak and Shake. However, I am planning on coming down to Atlanta once the outside is not trying to kill me anymore. And you are on the list to come and visit. So get those ready.
Yeah, all these road trips that people want to do.
I don't do road trips, I fly. But I've recently been watching simulated air disasters on YouTube, which is because they're fascinating. Okay. They get like really technical into the engineering side, and the simulations look almost real, but they're captivating. And I'm like, as often as I travel, I shouldn't be watching this shit. Like, this is now I'm gonna be like trying to pay attention to every bump and every like thing that I hear on an airplane, and I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna lose my shit at every little bump of turbulence.
Yeah, it's not a good thing in the future.
No, I really need to block those channels.
So when you track down like YouTube channels, you think, okay, they're gonna do like reaction videos to something they saw, and you're like, God, I've seen 1,000 of those videos. But then you start a series about the 8 steps to confronting your wife's sexual refusal.
Those were my test videos. What made that one? It was actually something we had covered.
I want to talk about this.
It was actually something we had covered on our old podcast. That was one of our better episodes, and those were my. I'm just starting the channel. I'm going to run test videos ones, and they're not great, but it was so.
This is my 230th test video, just to let you know.
It was so good. And now they have a new article on ways to groom your future wife. Ooh. And biblical gender roles is a fucking trip to read.
Grooming's not bad.
They use the term grooming, like steps to groom your future wife. And they had 8 steps to confronting your wife's sexual refusal. So when the grooming wears off.
Yeah.
But it infuriated me so badly. And this was actually something that I'm highlighting soon. I'm not an anti-theist. I'm anti-harm. And when it comes to religious practices like this that harm people, these need to be called out. Because then it's not just kept personal and one-on-one. You're actively harming another person. And we had some issues in the atheist community about really shitty personalities that were emotionally manipulative. So I wanted to highlight ways that people do emotionally manipulate, stuff like that. But I was like, if I say it about atheists, it's not going to go over as well. But if I say it as Christians, people are going to listen to it and then be like, that's fucking shitty. And then, oh, wait, hold on.
Although I'm thinking great new atheist YouTube channel. The emotionally manipulative atheist.
Oh, that's not new.
Well, there are a lot of channels that are that. They just are called something else.
Yeah, no, they totally mask it.
They love those leaders who have been accused of acting poorly, but
grifters,
the grifters,
used car salesmen, David Silvermans.
Oh yeah,
yeah, those ones.
But you're a circular firing squad if you bring it up. I would think, like in a community, shouldn't the people in the community be the ones who kind of police?
Yeah, and that's what kind of inspired the series that I'm doing on the atheist community. Was we don't police our own fucking community, and it's shit. It's we absolutely need to. We have we're in a very unique position where you're having people come out of faiths usually monotheistic ones that are extremely controlling, that are extremely manipulative and extremely emotionally abusive, and are tied to everything. They're tied to their identities, their communities, their families, everything. So they're coming out of this in this extremely vulnerable state, looking for a safe landing place, and can fall into these extremely predatory and manipulative personalities that, which, love you, baby, which they tend to follow because they're looking to fill this void of faith, and they deify them, and nothing, they forget that they're men. They're just people. And a lot of the time, we don't police our own for whatever reason. You know, whatever, and it's bullshit. We need to keep our community safe, and we haven't been. We really haven't been, as evidenced by many, 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 many sexual assault claims that have come out of our community over the years. We're not. And we need to.
And why do you think that the atheist community isn't as inclusive as it should be in terms of...
Because people are assholes.
Women, people of color,
people are
the trans
assholes.
Community.
The atheist community is largely cis heterosexual white men who are well educated. I shouldn't say the majority of the atheist community. The majority of atheist trailblazers, grandfathers, I guess if you want to call them, people's first exposure to atheism tends to be Ocean's Jesus in a suitcase. Ocean Keltoy did a thing about latent Christianity, and he described it as Jesus in a suitcase that you carry around with you, and he had an actual picture of Jesus in a suitcase and a voice and everything that went with it. It was wonderful. It's fucking amazing. now all I'm hearing is that fucking South Park teacher Jesus in my head. The majority of the first things that people are exposed to are cishet white men who are highly educated, and the ones that have made notoriety have been on education, have been scholars, have had their doctorates, so they think that this is what they have to be. And in truth, a lot of the debate me bro atheists that are out there are fucking hoity, and they're, you know, cocky motherfuckers and condescending shits. And sometimes rightfully so, especially when you come against a Christian apologist that wants to fucking gish gallop you and fucking run you in circles. You have a right to be. However, they think this is the standard. They think that you have to be highly educated, that you have to be a dick. And people see it and they get turned off. Some people don't want to be like Christopher Hitchens. Some people don't want to be like Dawkins. I love Matt, but some people don't want to be Matt. And you shouldn't be. But they think that this is the standard.
Yeah,
and
there's
it's
this assumption, like as a content creator, and of course I have to interrupt you once because, you know, talking to a woman here. Sorry about that. But there, yeah, it's the assumption that you have to be this, like the four horsemen type who,
right.
The kind of, I have an answer to every Christian apologetic ever. And it's like, not necessarily.
And
so, you know what, it doesn't click with me. And you know,
I'm fucking tired of Christian apologetics. If I have to hear about the fucking Kalam argument one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. It bores the fucking shit out of me. I know I'm an atheist and I get this shit. I don't give a fuck to debate biblical fucking text. I don't fucking care to argue the Kalam. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Philosophy fucking bores me. It bores the fuck out of me. People talk about it, my fucking brain turns off. But because these are the forefronts, you know, the horsemen, the more prominent ones do this, people think that this is what atheism has to be. So people who aren't into it get intimidated, and they're like, well, this community isn't for me because this is what everyone's doing. And it's shit. That, and there are many people, and I wouldn't reincarnate Hitch. I think Hitch was incredibly problematic. I think Hitch was incredibly dismissive. I think he said some really fucking questionable shit. And I think he was really wildly anti-theist, and I don't agree with him with a lot of political stances. I don't think we need to reincarnate anyone. I think this old white male bullshit. It's gotta go. Because this is what's causing people to stay away from the community. I got told from a black man, atheism is white people shit. I got told from a black woman, I don't feel welcome because it's nothing but white men. White menaning all over the fucking place. A lot of people don't have access, nor are they interested in higher levels of education and philosophy and theology like these people have picked up, and feel like there's no place for them for it.
Well, I think Christopher Hitchens fit well into the time period he was, because people never heard the kind of debates that he had. And like, everybody was like, Mother Teresa's amazing. And I know people who are just like, Mother Teresa's amazing. I'm like,
he was like, no.
It's not that hard to find that this, it makes sense if you're Catholic. I think she was Catholic, nun.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain she was Catholic.
You suffer. And I'm rich, I'm not going to suffer. And that was the thing. But then, Hitchens
I think,
and he wanted us to basically bomb the crap out of the Middle East, and
he had some really problematic views, and
that's the direction we took as a country. And that, tell me how well that's gone.
And
I mean, you've been.
I honestly,
as you know,
I kind of blame him for the absolute violent anti-theists that we have in the community, and we get these new atheists who a lot of the time their very first exposure is either him or Dawkins, the God delusion. It's Hitch or Hawkins. And they're angry, and they want to start coming at everyone of faith, and they want it eradicated from the earth, which I believe causes an echo chamber. I think it causes an echo chamber. I think I'm anti-harm, and I'm going to be releasing a video about this Thursday night, actually. I'm not an anti-theist, I'm anti-harm. I don't give a shit what you believe in. I don't give a shit what you do at home. I don't care. As long as you're not trying to legislate my body or me, and whatever you are bringing to the table can be blanket applied to everyone who's not of your faith, we don't have a fucking problem. I think if we eradicated gods and we eradicated religion, I think it would cause a terrible echo chamber. And there would be
it'd be tough. There's some people who just might not be able to survive.
Right, and it would just be bland. It would be bland. Yes, Deborah, his knowledge of literature was extraordinary. And yeah, it was great to bring atheism onto the stage. It really was. There's not a place for it now.
Is there a way...
There's not a big place for it now.
Is there a way that atheists could maybe lead the way in terms of like, hey, we admire this person, but we're not going to hero worship? Like...
that's what I'm trying to do. That was
Hitchens did was good, but he had a column was like, women aren't funny, and I'm like, okay, dude, maybe that's not great.
Hitchens was wildly.
He would be quote unquote canceled now, which only happens to people on the left anyway. So I don't know if he'd.
Well, I mean, Hitchens would definitely be called out. I'd call Hitchens out for his shit at this point, because he was good to bring atheism onto a stage and say, this is why we exist, and this is why at least I don't believe in gods. He was great for that. And he was great for arguing his reasons for it. However, the conversation is tiring. We need to do more now. The world is very different than when Christopher Hitchens came onto the scene. The social views and us as a society, a human society, have largely advanced past his views. So, yeah, he was good at the time for what he did. He did not age well. His teachings and his words did not age well. The reaction is natural to rebel and be angry. It's easier. Yeah, and I know I call it the baby atheist phase. I know people are going to be angry depending on what faith you're coming out of. It's all very dependent on what faith you're coming out of. Evangelical atheists, former evangelicals I've seen be very angry with good reason. Former Islamic worshippers I've seen be very angry for good reason. However, you get an Episcopalian who's just, because Episcopalians are fucking light on shit anyway, so they're just like, eh. Or you get former polytheists who, you get former polytheists who were just like, we come from a much more accepting background, however, I've just lost faith in the gods. Same thing with Catholics. I am a firm believer in, I understand the anger in the baby atheist space. I think you need to sit down and shut the fuck up and learn a lot of shit the first year. I think you need to come into your own. Because you go out there with this debate me bro angry shit, you ain't doing shit for atheism. People have claimed atheists to be angry, cultish, irrational, condescending. And that's because you get a lot of these baby atheists that come onto the debate stage, get on fucking Modern Day Debate and YouTube, and they act like assholes. And once they figure out that acting like an asshole is going to get you views, they stick to that asshole behavior. They never grow out of it, and they don't learn much after that. Who's my favorite famous outspoken atheist? Me. Me. I don't like putting favorites on them, especially when you work with them and they become peers of yours. I think we have a real problem deifying personalities in this community. And I did a video of that, Making Gods of Men, and I actually spoke to Seth Andrews about that a few days later. And, you know, we both agree that this is a massive problem. People deify, Christopher Hitchens. They deify Dawkins. They deify Matt. They deify Sam Harris, which fucking gods, why? Why? And that's why I don't pick a famous outspoken atheist. I don't understand this famous outspoken atheist thing. I don't get it. We have different specialties. But all atheism is that we have no belief in gods. It would be no different than any other personality. And I don't hero worship. I don't star worship. Stephen Fry's cool. Nice guy. I don't pick favorites. Because it's so islanding in the atheist community that everybody kind of has their niche. And everyone seems to be very different on what we can cover. So I don't pick a favorite because I can learn from a lot of people many different things. I kind of went on a full rant there and took over your show. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the point. See, the point is you talk, I get to drink. It's a beautiful thing. Everybody gets something out of it. So what
Hugh Laurie's a nice guy too. But
this is different. This is weird. Someone actually reading the chat. Sometimes people don't even know the chat exists. And
I use StreamYard.
Yeah, you use this. So you're. Yeah.
I highlight comments from people and stuff.
Well,
and I like engaging with the audience. I like having a conversation with everyone. So
made you decide to kind of create community with polytheists because you work with them.
That's a funny story.
Polytheist is a term that I don't think I've used on this show before, so it's interesting to see like a different
that's a funny story actually. Ocean Keltoy and I wound up doing an after party for Neil the 604 Atheist show, and we got along really well, like right off the bat. Like people had actually asked if we had known each other prior to that. We hadn't. And we reached out to each other and I'm like, we covered a lot and it sounds like we have a lot of the same views. What are your political stances and kind of what are the things that you kind of fight towards and advocate for? And we get into these conversations and we found out we had a lot in common. So I started asking about his praxis. I started asking about what his beliefs. He's a heathen reconstructionist. So he reconstructs his religion of the Norse gods and pantheons with a little bit of Roman and Celtic mixed into it. I think I forgot the name for that. There's the whole fucking other terminology in the polytheist world. But we started talking about the principles of his gods and what they stood for and his personal principles and what he's done politically to push things forward. And we had a lot in common. We had a shocking, as far as views, I think the only thing we didn't have in common was faith. My kid is loud as shit. Oh my God. I think the only thing we didn't have in common, I'm lying. We've got a couple of political differences, but that was really it. And I'm like, so you're doing this work. I'm doing this work. Your community is doing this work. My community is doing this work. We're having a hard time because we're both smaller communities. Why don't we bring the communities together and make one big fucking movement? It just made sense to me. where bigger numbers create better results.
Yeah, I never quite understood why like atheist groups didn't want to work together, because like all the evangelicals, they're not a big percentage in this country, but they always vote as a block, and they somehow have led us down the path we're in right now.
What I also noticed with polytheist was they get the same shit we do. They get the same shit we do. They're ostracized, they're cast out, they're being accused of being devil worshippers. Wow, my kid is super pissed at his game right now. Holy shit, he's super pissed.
I can't barely hear it, so it's good.
Oh, he's loud and clear for me. They face a lot of banishments from their families for going against the Christian faith. They face a lot of the same shit we do. And Aleakai, my co-host on the Xenia Bridge, is going to be releasing a video Thursday as well, that things that atheists and polytheists have in common as far as life experiences and how they're received. And I'm like, our communities are so similar. The only difference is the God's question. That's it. So why aren't we working together? Why? It just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, we can expand our political power. We can expand a group of people that understand where you're coming from for not having the same faith. It just made sense to me. And polytheists are cool as shit. They're like some of the least judgmental people I've ever met in my life. They're fucking awesome. Yeah, all the evangelicals think the other ones are going to hell. And they think the atheists, like, okay, so atheists,
double hell.
Yeah, Greek is Hellenism, Roman is Religion Romana, and Celtic is Celtic Reconstructionism. Thank you. Hercules is awesome. I love Hercules. Hercules pops in a lot on our shows, and Hercules is amazing. Hercules, I want to say Ocean's a heathen reconstructionist, and that's Norse gods, Scandinavian gods. Ocean's not here because he's doing the things, so I can't ask him directly. Yeah, it just made sense to me. Why not? And yeah, it's like evangelicals think that atheists can be saved, like we just lost God's love and we're just refusing it. Oh, there's no saving polytheists. They literally worship demons. There is no saving them to these people. They're going straight to fucking hell on the Monopoly bus, not collecting fucking $200. Like, God will reason. Their God will reason with us as atheists. Will not fucking reason with a polytheist. They won't.
Yeah, the atheists get kind of demonized at times, but they do, like, people realize they exist. Like the polytheists, like people who don't believe in, it's just if you're not Christian or Muslim almost, or Jewish, then it's like, what is this again? Yeah, because there's so many other faiths that people have.
At least with atheism, we just drop the God question. We're like, okay, this doesn't make sense to us. However, a lot of polytheists have to deal with Christianizations of their faiths, and that's the text that they have. So they literally have to spend time deconstructing their faith to figure out what has Christian influence and what doesn't. And that's terrible. That's awful. I have no idea what's going on. Like, wow, he's really... Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry. Sorry.
So if you lived, and I'm sure I've asked this in previous episode, if you lived in the world of Game of Thrones, what god would you worship?
Old gods.
Or would you be old gods?
Old gods.
Because one thing is every god in the Game of Thrones world actually like does something at some point.
Yeah, well,
and they don't always do something.
The fire god R'hllor was a little... Yeah, syncretic. Thank you, Joe. That was it. Syncretic elements in He3. That's when you combine different faiths. Like, I think his is North Scandinavian, Roman, and Celtic. Syncretic. That was Syncretic. That was it. Thank you, Joan. That's the word I was trying to remember. Yeah, it would be the old gods. The fire god was very big G god for me. Like, that was a little terrifying. It was like... You all bend to my fucking will, or I'll just let the Night King kill everyone. Like, That was the absolute big G versus sane thing to me, and that freaked me out. I thought the Faith of the Seven was a bit full of itself. I was like, okay, how many times are we gonna argue the same fucking? Okay, how many times are we gonna argue the same point through a different god? Okay, the old gods though was very. It's in you. It's in nature. It's everything around you. So I liked the lesson of what you do gives back, because it's everything within you and around. I dug that. It was very considerate and very not pushy, and they didn't expect you to pray all the fucking time, and they had really cool fucking trees that saw the future. Like, shit, who isn't picking this? Come on. The god of death was cool. Little one-dimensional. He was a little boring for me, but it's this is all you
want your gods well developed.
Yeah, I want something interesting. Like, you're gonna make me fucking. You're gonna have me worship something. God damn it! I want some multifaceted shit I can think about. That's probably why I'm an atheist. But
Now, speaking of communities that probably had some serious struggles over the past year, do you think people still believe that George R.R. Martin is actually going to finish the Game of Thrones books?
I don't know. I'm
because I think the last one was 11 years ago or 12.
12.
It's been such a long time.
He was saying that due to COVID, he's actually working on it. So that's one thing. That's one thing I almost want to thank Trump for, is like, hey, thanks for fucking this up. Maybe we'll get these books, But I think he was waiting for. My personal opinion was that he just created too big of a world to write about, and he didn't quite know where to take it. So I think he was actually kind of waiting for the show to finish, just so that he can get his own grasp on his own work and figure out where to put everything. Because it's so large now. It's so large that he's making history books, and I swear it's to work through his own fucking history. Like, yes, he's just writing this shit down and work it out himself. I
mean, I read through the books, and I'm like, man, they really weren't that far in the story when the books were done. Like, John had just been killed, and
like they didn't go far.
There was still a ton of characters who were still alive, and they had all these additional characters that didn't make it into the show.
And characters that they blended together. The books don't even cover probably my favorite season in Game of Thrones. Season 6 was my favorite. Season 6. Those last 2 episodes. I just ended it there.
Costume from when she.
I still have it. I actually threatened to go on an after party with a Christian pastor with it on, because we were talking about separation of church and state, and I actually threatened to sit in my Cersei costume just to establish where the fuck I stood. just to Jean, am I saying that right? It's Jean, right? Jean. Martin's short stories are better than his long fiction. I have the Hedge Knight series. They're fascinating. They're so good. So good. And the World of Ice and Fire book, the way he condenses down the Targaryen history into just short stories is amazing. But I like his long fiction. I like intricate storytelling. Like, I like that he describes food. I love that he describes. Granted, I'm fucking starving when I read these books. I just get hungrier and hungrier, which I now have a Game of Thrones cookbook that I do make things out of. Oh, thank you, Jean.
Wasn't there a story about somebody baking somebody into a pie? So
Frey pies. Frey pies, and that's what Arya wound up doing. They were Frey pies, but I had to go back and watch the last season.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that because of I think it was the empathetic atheist. You mentioned that, like, you thought season 8 wasn't as bad because
after rewatching it, I got it.
I was like, I did not remember how, like, every Sunday, my wife and I, we'd watch the previous episode and then the new episode, and we so anticipated it like no other show we've ever watched. And it was so disappointing, even though there were
I think we all definitely came in with more hype. I just want to, Hercule, there are a lot of deities in the Song of Ice and Fire, especially off of Westeros. There are so many. Like, the cookbooks are amazing. There's an roasted auroch that I use a regular roast for, and it's fucking good. Oh my, and the breads are so good. Anyway, Yeah, we I went back and watched it because I think we hyped it up so much, and there was so much hype to not fit into 6 episodes. I think that's what it was. So I kind of went back, and I have a really good bright TV, so I could watch this. Like, I could watch the long night battle and see what the fuck was going on, which I know a lot of people bitched about, but I got it in the end. I got it, and it going back and watching it and knowing why made it a little bit better. I think the John and Danny storylines were just bad acting. I think it was bad writing and bad acting between the two. I really do, because there was like no chemistry for me. But they skipped through a lot that I'm still fucking confused. I'm like, why we harped on this for fucking 6 years? Why? What was the fucking point? Like, okay, she told Arya, "You're gonna close many eyes forever," and then said blue eyes, right? So she told Arya in season fucking 4 that she was gonna kill the Night King, and then, like, why the fuck are we following Stannis and Jon? What? And where's the flaming sword? So the Lord of Light was actually an interesting.
There multiple swords in the books? I can't remember.
Yeah. The what they said was that he tempered his sword. It was once by slaying a lion and the sword broke, and then he tempered it in water and the sword broke, and then he had to kill his true love, and that's how he got the flaming sword. And I went back and looked at it. And Jon did that. The lion was Tyrion Lannister and his wit in the first season when he sat down with Jon. And this was kind of the first alliance that had been formed between a Stark and a Lannister. So he slayed a Lannister, which was a lion. He then obviously Hardhome fought the whites and, shattered Wonders water. And then Dany being his love. Now, this is something that a lot of people didn't realize. Saving humanity was not from the Night King. Saving humanity was from Dany. Because the Night King, would have wiped us out and that would have been the end of it. But Dany wanted to wipe, as she was the true enemy, she wanted to wipe everything and everyone and bend to her will and her way. So the Lord of Light was not, once by water, once by the heart of a lion, and then plunging it into the heart of Nissa Nissa. So he did the lion, which was Tyrion Lannister. He won over Tyrion Lannister to the point that Tyrion probably had a lot to do in saving his life. Water was at Hardhome, and then Nissa Nissa being Daenerys. Daenerys was the true villain to mankind in the series. So Jon was Azor Ahai. He was the prince that was promised. We just got the villain wrong. I also think that Arya was the physical embodiment of the god of death.
Yeah, I wondered if it did seem like in that last season, even though they were doing 1.5, 2-hour episodes, but the showrunners were like, "We're out of here," and they had all these offers to do other shows, and nothing's come up.
And then they're trying to build this romance that should have been built over much slower, over the course of a couple of seasons. I usually end at 6.
The characters, and then the dragons, the one dragon dying so easily, and it's just like,
I was surprised at the dragon issue. I was really surprised at that. They had hyped up the Dance of the Dragons so much that I thought this was going to be a thing. And the Dance of the Dragons was the greens versus the blacks. Jon's dragon is green, Dany's is black, and I thought she would find out who he is, and they would literally fight in the sky, and one of the dragons would die that way. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect the absolute yes, Hercules. I was just getting into that. The absolute mockery of Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah,
Euron Greyjoy is
the character in the book is like terrifying, and then in the show
he's a bad Hot Topic villain.
Yeah.
Euron Greyjoy is the edgelord that works at Hot Topic in the show. That's exactly what he is. Like, he's got the black leather on with the eyeliner and the fucking swagger. The books? So Euron Greyjoy is the reason I don't date.
I mean, he has a horn that would, like...
The Dragonbinder horn, right. But he's...
They just couldn't do it in the show yet.
He's absolutely murderous and a complete psychopath, but he's so charming. He's so charming. And I'm like, I know I would look at him and be like, I'm probably going to lose my life, but I probably would sleep with him. Yeah. Euron Greyjoy is the reason I don't date, because I clearly make terrible decisions with partners. So I'm like, I'd lose my life, but I'd fall for that shit real fucking easy. He'd probably stab me during, but let's go for it. He was, I read about Ramsay in the books and was horrified, and then Euron came in, and I was like, how do the villains get worse? Like, who are we introducing next? How do you get worse than Euron Greyjoy? The books, he was the edgelord kid at Hot Topic trying to fucking go for the popular girl. Like, it was terrible. I'm the man who killed Jaime Lannister. Who wrote that? That was awful. Like, They did the whole Greyjoy line dirty, though.
Do you want there to be more Game of Thrones, like, on HBO, or do you like, you know what?
No, I'm curious to see. I have Fire and Ice. I have it, and I actually read the book, and it was a pretty good book, and I'm interested to see that play out in person. I'm interested to see how they're going to work through this in person, because the Targaryen history is beautifully written. It's like reading actual history. You'll get lost reading this like you're reading an actual history book. It's wonderfully done. And I think they seem to do well when they have content to stick to and they're not going off on their own. Because season 6 still incorporated some of book 5, and season 6 was good. 7 and 8 was like, what the fuck, dude? I think as long as they have content, it's probably going to go really well. I would just like to see the dragons be better colored, because they're supposed to be these big vibrant colors and all of them look the same. Like, it was hard to figure out who the Night King killed when he took him down. It was real. I was like, which one is that? I was like, poor Viserion. And I hope they go more into dragon personalities, because they get really in depth in Game of Thrones, and they just lost on that. I'm like, Drogon's the most boring fucking dragon. Like, why is he's the most boring one? He just does what he's fucking told. Like, yeah, okay, go do your thing. I hope they get more into that. I'm actually looking forward to it. I want to see how they handle this. If it's shit, though, I'll be the first person to say it. I'll be like, no, Mother Dragon does not approve. Absolutely
exactly.
not. No, she fucking does not.
Well, as Mother Dragon, can you tell people how to find your content and what you have coming up?
So, my channel is the Atheist Wine Down, WINE down, because I drink and I yell about things. Excuse me. Thursday, I am releasing a video. It's more of an educational series on the differences between anti-theism and anti-harm, and why I'm not an anti-theist. Because I know people have been searching for a word, especially in the atheism plus, I guess, I don't even know if they call it that anymore, but the secular humanist movement. Atheists have been looking for a title when anti-theism didn't fit them. So I wanted to put that out. Friday, I will be interviewing Dr. Daryl Ray. I did a show with Ocean Keltoy on latent Christianity last year, which is, the things that we carry over, the behaviors that we carry over from our past faiths. And we highlighted those behaviors, but I want to bring Daryl Ray on to talk about ways of working through them and ways of leaving them behind. Fully leaving them behind, so that you're not the atheist that yells at people like you were when you were a Scientologist, or still sticks to purity culture and gender roles as you did when you were a Christian. Monday we have the Xenia Bridge, which is me and Aaliyah Kai. You can find on her channel, ALAKAI. That's how you spell that. And then the Friday after that, I have Nick Fish on to discuss, is the United States a secular or pluralistic nation? And I don't know what other video I'm releasing the week after.
No spoiler alerts on that. Yeah, well, there's a lot of content. I'm like, yeah, this is my first video in 3 weeks. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I try to do a pre-record once a week, and then an interview once a week. I try to at least do 2 a week, because I have way too much to say, clearly.
Sounds good.
You can also find me on Twitter, Jen Dragon Queen on Twitter. I am super inflammatory, and I yell at a lot of people on Twitter, and it's really fun.
Yeah, 230 episodes, and you're the first one who's like, hey, put my links on your YouTube
You're doing it wrong, Zach.
This is something I know.
You're doing the atheism
and
wrong.
Don't know things. Exactly.
Yeah, Hercules, that's it. A Song of Ice and Fire has this tie to history and feeling a realism, even with fantasy elements. I'm a history nerd too, but I love politics, and it was like super political. But like fantasy and magic were not the forefront. It was just kind of part of the world. It was like Christianity is in the forefront, but especially in the United States, but. Religion shouldn't be the forefront of our world. It just kind of exists. It was like that. That's what I dug about it. That was a big thing for me. But yeah, you can find me Atheist Wine Down. You can find me Jen Dragon Queen on Twitter. Hit me up there. Send me shit. I have a Patreon, patreon.com, Jen Aldrich. My tiers are cheap as shit. They're like $1, $3, $5. And the $1 tier gets you access to early videos. Yeah, the full Leaving Latent Christianity video, yeah, might actually be useful of polytheism. I got the idea from Ocean, who's a polytheist, and talked about polytheists having it. So there was something we tried to do together for both communities. I don't know how well that worked.
It's good to have that great crossover episode. Well, thanks, Jen, for being on again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me so much.
And if I end up watching Game of Thrones again, we'll be talking about that.
I have the soundtrack on playlists because the soundtracks are absolutely beautiful. That and the Westworld soundtracks. If you guys haven't listened to the Westworld shit, hot. They take modern songs and remake them, amazing in like different styles. And I'll hear like the Night King theme, or I'll hear not the Winds of Winter, the one where she blew the sept up. I'll hear that, and then I'm like, nah, I feel like I gotta watch this. So I go back and watch the episode.
It's true. There's always the emotional cue. It's quality.
It's the music. Kills me. It does. But yeah, check out the Westworld soundtrack too. Like they did a geisha version of Cream from Wu-Tang Clan that was amazing. That they put into the show. Black Hole Sun. Smells Like Teen Spirit, I think they did. They did one. My favorite is the Wicked Game remake from The Weeknd. The original song is shit, but god damn, that remake is hot as fuck. I was like, I'm just gonna listen to this now.
Wow. See, all this stuff to consume. Well, thank you, Jen, for being on.
Thank you for having me. I love sitting down with you. We need to get back to COVID needs to stop so we can drink at conventions.
Exactly.
Again.
That is the way to go.